I don't want Elon Musk or Larry Fink, for that matter, to be bad guys. I really don't. I don't want them to be bad guys, because it's considering how much power they both have, that they both equally have. It would be a very comforting thought if they were good guys. If they actually were, fighting for humanity to be better and to do better and to evolve out of these primitive mindsets and notions that we have. I don't want to think that they're secretly plotting to depopulate us, to make us constantly suffer so their reptilian bosses can have plenty of suffering and food and things to feed off of. I don't want to believe any of that. I really don't. But they make it like so hard. Like, because, for example, at the World Economic Forum, Larry Fink and Elon Musk, who are sitting there talking about all these things, like the robots, for example. That's just one thing. Like the robots, how Elon Musk, wants everyone on Earth to have a robot, basically, to do all the work for them and like all this other stuff so that humanity doesn't have to do it. And listen, I'd be all on board for that. But the problem is we already know that how they like to half-ass things. You know what I mean? So what they'll do is they'll make it like easy for everyone to have a robot, right? But they're going to withhold the truth. They're going to withhold the truth that of what like reality is and what consciousness is, what we're made of, what a real valuable use of our time would be versus what they say it should be. Like, for example, Elon, like, if everyone does have a robot, then nobody actually has to do anything or work. So what do you suggest they do after that? That's what I'm scared of. Because if you actually suggest that they work on themselves, work on their consciousness, you know what I mean? Things like that, that would be a beautiful thing, actually, I think, for humanity. I really do. To give us a chance to actually evolve our consciousness. That would be a beautiful thing. But I'm suspicious because you guys seem to always want the opposite. Maybe not Elon specifically, although jury's still out on him. But Larry Fink, like, come on. Like, I can't think of anybody more, okay, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't say evil. Because, to be honest, I don't know if Larry Fink is evil. I don't know if he's evil. Whoever is controlling Larry Fink, whoever is telling Larry Fink what to do and how to enslave humanity, whoever's telling him to buy up all the land in the United States, whoever's telling him to do all this weird, shady stuff, I think they're evil. Maybe Larry Fink is actually a good guy. Blink twice, Larry Fink, if you're in trouble. But, like, for them to sit there and, like, talk about, like, giving everyone a robot and stuff and not say the other half of that, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, there's another half to that equation. What are we expected to do? Humans are expected to do stuff. We're expected to grow. We're expected to learn. We're expected to evolve. And if you give us all a robot to do all the work and all the stuff for us, and you leave that important part out, and you're just like, I just play video games all day, or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what worries me. Is, like, because they always, like, fail to give the other half of that equation. Because, like, back in, like, the 50s and 60s, when, like, the poor class was turning into the middle class and whatnot, that's basically was the problem then. All of a sudden, everyone started getting all depressed and contemplated the meaning of life and all this other stuff. And that's, they didn't give them the other half of the equation then, that what you should be doing, instead of, like, wallowing in self-pity or taking medication for every negative emotion, you should be working on evolving yourself and growing yourself. But they never said any of that. And thus, a whole bunch of people got on medications and stuff, which was most likely the plan the whole time. What I'm worried now is, what is the plan now, Elon and Larry? What's the plan? Like, once you give everyone a robot and everything, and once Larry Fink effectively, like, owns everything, what then? What then? And then Larry Fink, like jokingly asks Elon, have you figured out the way to stop aging? Like, as if we don't know that adrenochrome is a real thing. And if anyone, oh my gosh, knows that, I have no doubt it's Larry Fink or Elon. Like, so these are like two of the most powerful men on earth. I mean, the richest, most powerful men on earth sitting there joking around about reversing aging or to halt aging. It's like, what? They really think we're that stupid. They really do. They think we're stupid. And I'm not insinuating they use it. I'm not insinuating that at all. They know what it is, and they know that their buddies do it, and they know. They know. But like I said, I really do want to believe, I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, I don't want to believe that they're the villains in history. I really don't. I don't want to believe that. Because you know what I mean? If you start, like, buying into that, like, believing that they're the villains, believing that Donald Trump is the villain, that's a scary thought. That's a very scary thought, especially with all these talks about nukes. And I'm just saying, that's scary. So I don't want to believe any of that. And I think, honestly, nobody else really, truly wants to believe that either. But it's like, they don't want to give us anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe if they just came out and started being more truthful. Like, I don't know what the answer is. But I know it's very unsettling. It's very unsettling when two of the most powerful men on earth are sitting there on stage talking about, like, the weird, creepy stuff that they talk about. You know, I mean, you know, I don't know what it's like to be either one of them. Thank God. I wouldn't want to either. But I'm just saying that, like, if you really do want humanity to have abundance and whatnot, like, and the robots, like I say, would be a good thing, but you gotta do the other half. You know what I mean? You've got to start putting out the real information, the real history to humanity. You know what I mean? Like, the real, like, and stop gaslighting everyone constantly. Oh my gosh, it's annoying. It's getting so annoying at this point. It's like, we know that us conspiracy theorists, we know we're right at this point. Like, I mean, like, so, like, you guys are starting to look dumb and being exhausting. Like, yeah, they look really dumb and shady. But, like, that's all I'll really say about that. Because, like, like I said, I want to trust that they, you know, want what's best for humanity. I mean, I don't like to believe all this stuff. But, like, you know, you've got to at some point. It's becoming ever increasingly obvious by the day that the deep state is still in place, still firmly locked in place. And you know what, maybe, I don't know, maybe Trump is playing some sort of long game that he knows he has to play to get rid of them. I hope so. Like, I don't want to believe that he's just willingly ignoring the genocide happening in Palestine, that he's willingly ignoring child traffickers. I don't want to believe that he's willingly ignoring these things. You know, I would really like to believe that there is some sort of, like, game of chess being played. I hope so. I hope someone's working on this. Because I don't even know how you can call yourself human and not... Anyways, it's hard to talk about. It's becoming harder and harder to talk about. Because, like, they're not even giving us the proper information to use. You know what I mean? If you want to prevent child trafficking, if you want to prevent human trafficking at all, the first step is awareness, period. And, like, if you can't even do that one bare minimum basic step of informing the public how bad this problem is, you can't even do that. I have a lot of trouble believing that you do have humanity's best interests at heart. How could you? If you're not even doing that little, small, bare minimum step of informing, yes, child trafficking is real. Yes, it happens everywhere. And anyone could be involved. Here are the signs to look out for. No, they don't ever do that. You've literally got to take it upon yourself and be like, wow, this trafficking issue looks really bad. I wonder, you know, what it looks like if it's in front of me. Like, literally, people have to take it upon themselves to educate themselves. Even, like, and a lot of people still don't even know. A lot of people still think that this is just some sort of like a conspiracy theory that it's even happening. And it's happening everywhere. Like, I've never seen anything like it. It is getting worse. It's getting worse. Or maybe the awareness is increasing, which is a good thing. But it shows us how bad this problem is. And, like, they're not talking about it. They're not bringing awareness to it. None of them. They campaigned on it. They certainly didn't mind campaigning on it and bringing us all to tears. They didn't mind doing that. But ever since they've been in office, the only single person I've even heard bring up missing kids is Tom Holman, or every once in a while, Kash Patel, when he says, we found 6,000 missing kids. We found 10,000 missing kids. Okay, well, where are they, Kash Patel? Where are they? Are they in CPS? Did you find all of their parents? Surely all thousands of them didn't have a parent left or couldn't, like, where are they? Where are they? Are they in American CPS? Did you deport them? Like, where are they? These thousands and thousands and thousands of missing kids that you supposedly, allegedly have found. Like, it's easy to say this stuff, you know what I mean? To get us all to shut up and be like, yay! But, I mean, I haven't seen any evidence that they found any of these missing kids. Not one bit of evidence. I don't see, like, influx of people needing people to volunteer for foster people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see any of that. So I don't believe it, Kash Patel. I don't believe it. Until you give me some kind of proof that you have actually found these missing kids or have looked for these. I don't believe it. I just don't. Just like I don't believe Elon Musk and Larry Fink. I think it's all performative. I think it's all bullshit. They already know that they've had all this stuff. Like, it's all bullshit and performative and fake. But anyways, so that's what I have to say about them. I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about something that is really kind of off topic. Well, not really, is it? Because it has to do with Erica Kirk, and she has some very shady, questionable associates and ties. But it's about, like, that video that Candace Owen leaked about that worker who was getting fired from TPUSA. That bugged me. Did that bug you guys to hear that? I don't know if anyone's ever been in one of those situations before where you, like, literally, like, work so hard, stress yourself out so much for a job, you know what I mean, for work, for employers, and like, you even, like, get physical problems for how much you work yourself to the ground. You have fights with your families because of it, because of the job. All this stuff that you sacrifice, and then they turn around and do something like that. It's I don't know if anyone's ever been through that. That is, like, one of the worst things to go through. It's almost like grieving, like when something like that happens. It really is. It's horrifying. It's horrendous, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It's like, I don't know. I just felt so bad for that girl, like, because I've been through a situation like that. In fact, like, oof. I was even, like, gaslit in the exact same way. Like, it was like the boss that fired me was like, you're going to do great. You know how many times I've had to pick myself up out of the ashes? 1,000,000 times. So you will find a way and you will make it. Like, so pompous and self-righteous. It's, in fact, and Erica kind of exudes this whole attitude of, like, literally, it's like this is how you know what kind of person she is. It's like every single other word she says, she's always talking about being above others or, like, doing things better than others. Like, for example, like whenever they ask you, like, when they ever, what's her name, asked her that question, about her dating. Now, regardless of whether or not she lied is beside the point. It was just the whole way she answered. She was like, my roommate would go out to drink, and, you know, I don't do that. I don't do that. No judgment to anyone who does. I just personally don't find it productive. I don't, so I just don't do it. It's like everything that she goes to talk about. She has this air of superiority. It is so vile, and it's just, it's not relatable. It's very cringy. Maybe it used to be relatable once upon a time, but, like, not any, these things, it doesn't work anymore. Humble yourself a little bit, girl. Humble yourself a little bit. Like you don't have to constantly be putting yourself on this pedestal like you're Saint Mother Teresa or something. That's what it feels like it to me. Like she's always just has the moral high ground no matter what, even though she's been caught like thousands of lies. Someone who really does have the moral high ground in this situation would be Candace Owens. Like, you know what I mean? You don't see her saying, I just personally wouldn't do that. Like, I saw her go out of her way to defend Erica Kirk until she absolutely had no choice. She had no choice. Erica kept putting her in this corner. Like, it's been an interesting development to watch. Like, if you've been watching, like, Candace Owens' show since Charlie Kirk's assassination, like I've been, it has been very interesting. I didn't really watch Candace before that. I didn't find the Macron stuff that interesting. I didn't find any of that interesting. At least not the way she was presenting it, because she was more worried about, like, the sex change than the actual pedophilia. So that's why I didn't really like to watch that stuff. So, like I said, and I definitely don't agree with Candace about the church, the Catholic Church. I think the Catholic Church is the same form of evil. So, I don't agree with her about that stuff. But, like, man, she's been so spot on it, and she has been, like, impeccable. She has been impeccable and has delivered it, like, so, chef's kiss, Candace. Chef's kiss. Like, for real. Like, we are so tired of all this fake, pompous behavior from these people claiming to be Christians. And, maybe they are Christians. I'm not trying to take that away from them. But, like, to use, like, the Bible constantly like that. Like, Nehemiah was building a wall. I cannot come down to you poor peasant people. I am building something here. Like, you are no Nehemiah, girl. And even if you were, that wouldn't be much of a compliment. But anywho, that's really all I had to say about that. I felt so bad for that poor girl who lost her job because, I've been through something so similar. And I know how that feels. It's like you feel like, it's like, wait a minute. There's like literally, I couldn't have worked harder. There's literally nothing more I could have done. This was always just going to happen. And it's sad. It's sad. Anyways, have a good day.